God, and dear man, I take you far away under the sycamore trees, in the dark trees that blow.
And welcome to Twin Peaks Unwrapped. I'm your host, Ben Durant, and beside me is
Bryon Kazaska.
Hi, Bryon.
Hey, Ben, how are you?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
So we are doing a David Lynch animated
Shorts. Not that David Lynch is wearing animated shorts.
No, not at all.
Not at all. This is if David Lynch shat out some animated shorts on a weekend. This is kind of what I figured you'd get.
There you go.
Can you give me the origin story about Dumbland?
Yes, we're doing Dumbland today. The origin of Dumbland is, so David Lynch had a website, or he still has a website, but for a time, he made the website kind of his experimental place. Mm-hmm. Where it was subscription based, so I think it was like around $10 a month you pay, and you could get anything that David Lynch was working on. So he would, he'd work on where his son and him were just yodeling or making noises, and then you see a video of that. Well, he did rabbits. He did all these different crazy things.
Yeah.
And one of those was his animation of Dumbland. Yeah. And that was in 2002 that came out. But he wrote it, he directed, and he did all the voices for...
I can tell. Now, question. You see the first episode of Dumbland, and you're paying $10 a month. Did you think to yourself... Well, that was sure worth it.
Well, the great thing. The great thing was there was always other content. It was very experimental. They were using Flash on the website, so you would hit.
Flash was hot back then.
It was back, very popular back then. Actually, when I was in college a few years before that, I was using. Was I using Director? I think I was using other Flash type things, and I was making my own crude animation. I think I don't know it was because of David Lynch, but I would do something.
You probably were.
It was really goofy.
Do you have it anymore?
I'd have to. Well, here's the thing: is I might have it, but then it was probably like on a weird disc format, and I don't know if I have the. But it would be something like, I have no legs, and like some guy, it was just as crude as this. Because, you're a kid, you're young and you're stupid. But here, Lynch is not young. I think he was in his 50s back then.
He was in his 50s doing this?
I think it was like 56.
Well, he's 70 now.
Right.
Wow.
Well, maybe then I'm wrong. So what is this? If we can do the math, how many years ago was 2002? That was 15 years ago.
Yeah. Wow. So he was still an older man.
Right. So he was 50. If he was 55 and you add 15, that's 70.
But he's a man of many ages.
Yeah, but so he was just very experimental, and he had a computer, and he says it's Flash. I'm surprised it wasn't Director or another thing, but let's say he's saying he's using Flash, and he would take him like 3 hours just to have his character stand up. He was the thing is with Flash, you can do these things with the tools, can kind of create it really quickly for you, but he was very particular. Even though you watch this and it's so crude and it looks so simplistic. But for him, he was still very detail oriented, and he took his time making this shorts.
I got one thing to say before we dive in. So season 3, one of the coolest things about Twin Peaks season 3, I'm going to tie this in, the fact that he used a lot of his work, his artwork, music, visually or whatever, and he implemented it into season 3.
Yes.
And John Neff said it perfectly when he said this is his magnum opus. Because he put in a drawing of the dog with the antlers, whatever.
Yes.
That was an original piece of art he did years ago. And there was someone on Twitter who did a fantastic job every week finding the things that matched up to his artwork in real life that was on Twin Peaks. This person did an amazing job. I don't know their name, but it was so cool. Every week I would look and be like, oh, that's awesome. I think this is why I think where Dumbland's really worth watching, because you can watch it now, and if you watch season 3, you can connect the dots a little bit.
You see the teddy bear?
Yes. The teddy bear head is from Dumbland.
It looks like Randy. They don't actually say the names in the actual show, but the website said the main character's name was Randy, the big fat guy. His child's name is Sparky.
Yes.
And the wife never had a name. So those are the main characters on this.
And for me, I connect the wife to the spastic woman in the car that Bobby runs over to.
Oh, yes. The child needs to get out.
And what if that's Sparky who's vomiting?
Maybe.
It doesn't seem so. No. But that wife matches the way this wife acts.
I see. Yeah.
But I think that, to me, that connected. And then we got the teddy bear globe, which is Randy's face. Yeah, the voices. People were like, who did the voice in Twin Peaks Season 3? We're like, who did that voice? David Lynch.
We're talking about the arm, evolution of the arm. Yeah.
And we were like, it's David Lynch doing the voice.
Probably.
It sounded just like one of these voices.
Right.
So if you haven't seen Dumbland, go on YouTube.
Right. And it came out on DVD in 2005.
I have the DVD.
Okay, yeah. It was available through the website that it came out. And so I think it was probably on the website, the description says, Dumbland is a crude, stupid, violent, absurd series. If it is funny because we see the absurdity of it all. And that's David Lynch saying that. So David Lynch is not taking this serious. It's interesting because when we get into this, it's very violent, and it's funny how, like, as a kid, I'd be like, ho, 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 that's so funny. And now as an adult, I'm kind of like, wow, this is like spousal abuse, child abuse. And, like, you look at it as an adult and say, this is very violent.
But
we live in different times.
Yeah. And it's animated and it's crude. Yeah, it reminds me a lot of like old Beavis and Butthead when Beavis and Butthead did Frog Baseball. This reminds me of something that would have been on MTV's Liquid Television.
Oh yeah,
remember Liquid Television?
I remember that.
Beavis and Butthead came out of that. A lot of weird Eon Flux. This to me would have been on that show.
Yeah,
I don't know if it ever was broadcasted or not.
No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it ever was broad. Well, to say that, like, it was maybe last year. It was on TV. Like, I'm trying to remember where.
Adult Swim.
It might have been like It was somewhere, and I just, even though I had it on DVD or something, I just recorded it all and stuff like that. But I can't remember now. It was
maybe
like,
Adult Swim did it,
or FX, or I can't remember. But it was like. I think I have like a search through my DVR for David Lynch, and it came up Dumbland. I just recorded it all. But
wow,
it's weird. But it's not normally on TV. But whatever they had the rights to show David Lynch stuff.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. Maybe it was Showtime in between.
Maybe
before the Twin Peaks.
Yeah, I can't remember now.
We're gonna go episode by episode here. The first episode is The Neighbor, the guy with a fake arm. So you get to meet Randy, who's talking to his neighbor over a fence.
Well, I love it that Randy comes up to the neighbor and says, I like your shed.
Yes.
I like your shed.
Over and over again.
And the neighbor is like kind of freaked out that he likes his shed. And it's like, that's my shed. And then Randy's like, I know it's your fucking shed. Yeah. And it's like, I remember the first time he said, it was like, whoa.
And then it's so funny because David Lynch is doing this obnoxious voice and this little high-pitched weenie voice. Something with his arm. His arm comes off.
Yes.
And then there's a duck and there's a helicopter shows up.
Fuck you, you motherfucking helicopters, you motherfuckers. Fuck you, you fucking motherfucking helicopters.
But do you have like neighbors like this where I'm sure everybody has a neighbor who's always cranky and mad about everything? Oh, this is loud. Oh, the kids are too loud. Oh, there's a helicopter in my front yard.
But this is to a new extreme. Like, this is like, I got to stay away from this guy.
Do you think David Lynch had obnoxious neighbors and this was his release?
I do think he does seem like he has pet peeves about things. Like, you think about Lost Highway and that whole thing about, like, going too fast and, like, you know, you read your car manual and stuff like that, where I feel like that was probably a pet peeve of Lynch, and he added it to the movie.
Yeah, so, like, this could have been, like, maybe suburban life for him was a hell.
Yeah, maybe that sometimes it's like, why is there so much going on? Why is there helicopters right underneath my house? Yeah. So
Yeah.
Lynch did have some kind of like box. I don't know if it was like something homemade box or if it was something he bought, but I think he says it was like the price of his coffee cup or something like that. But he would use it, so he would put this box and cover his mouth, and he would make these different sounds, supposedly. But I don't know if this was I can't remember if it was homemade or if it was something he actually bought that was supposed to help change his voice. But you can definitely tell it was David Lynch in every person there. Yeah.
I heard once someone said you fuck ducks.
It's like the one-armed duck fucker.
Oh yeah, the one-armed duck fucker.
I'm trying to remember how does that end though. That ends with
did the helicopter and he yells and that's it.
Yeah,
there's not much to that one. Episode 2 is called The Treadmill.
So Randy's wife is on the treadmill and it's making a lot of noise. And is he watching a game?
Watching a football game.
Football game, yes. And I think it's irritating him. See, we're going to see that there's a pattern in these episodes.
Yes.
That Randy gets irritated very often.
Yes.
So I think he's getting irritated that he hears his wife on the treadmill and it's making too much noise.
And he's sitting there drinking beer and watching the football game. Oh, and there's a fly. Oh, there's a little man, which is the son, is trying to jump, and there's a fly in the wall. His son's jumping like on a trampoline or just jumping around. Look at me. That's it. And it's David's voice over and over again. Look at me. Husband who just wants to watch football.
Yes.
And the son wants to have attention. The wife is trying to lose weight, and her thing's making a racket. He's just trying to, and there's a fly annoying him. It's like, I just want to watch a football game.
Right.
Why can't you just leave me alone?
Yes. And then does he go outside and that's where he meets the salesman?
Yeah, that's at the end. So he flies into the farts and he takes a hammer to the treadmill, but the fly is still on the wall. The fly's annoying him. He goes over to his wife's treadmill. She gets off and he goes, I'm going to destroy this thing. And he takes his hammer to the treadmill. Yes. And when he hits the treadmill, he flies to the wall, lands outside with the hammer up his ass.
Yep.
So this is crude.
And he tries to fart it out.
Farts out the hammer, and it hits the neighbor's fence, or his fence, going to his neighbor's yard. And then a salesperson shows up.
Excuse me. Hi.
What the fuck?
You look like you might be interested in a household product that makes things smell really good.
And he slams him in the head.
Well, even before that, Randy is angry that he could have been taking a shit in his own backyard. And
what if I was out in the yard taking a shit? You think of that?
This guy had to be there. And this is not the first time he will say this. Like, in another episode, he will be saying, I need my privacy. I want to take a shit outside. It's like, who does that? Like, who was going to go out to their own backyard and, I need my privacy? It's
take a shit out here? He hits the man so his neck, his head bends back in his neck, and he's talking weird, gargly and everything.
I can repeat the Gettysburg Address if you'd care to hear it. 407 years ago, our forefathers brought forth upon this continent a new nation.
And then the little man, which I didn't know was the son, it's the son, he's choking 2 chickens. It ends with the little boy choking 2 chickens. And that's how it ends. So what do you take out of that?
What do I take?
What's your takeaway on that one?
He just wants to be left alone. I don't know. He just wants his
He wants to be left alone.
And everybody irritates him. He just hates the world.
And then...
But I mean, so the title of this is Dumbland, where it clearly seems like Randy is the dumb man, or is it everybody around that is dumb? Like, is the whole land dumb?
The whole land's dumb. So, episode 3 is called The Doctor. The mailman walks by.
Hey, you got any mail for me?
Sorry, no mail for you.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got 2 letters for you. F you, stamp licker.
That's a pretty good one.
The lamp is broken, and his wife screams that Randy did it. And Randy says, well, I didn't do it, but I'm going to try to fix it. He sticks his fingers into the old broken light bulb, and he fries himself.
Yeah, it's shocking.
It's shocking. It
I
was
actually
shocking.
kind of like this animation. It was like it goes black. The whole screen is black, then white, black, then white. I thought that was probably one of my favorite animation of the series. I don't know. It was nice.
How long do you think it took David Lynch to do that?
3 hours.
3 days. So the doctor shows up and he goes, "I'm the doctor," because that's what you do when you're a doctor. I'm the doctor. He pokes him with needles and asks,
Does that hurt you?
hits him with a hammer in the head and a knife in the head, and Randy chokes and beats him up. So basically, the doctor repeatedly, "Does this hurt you?" And he hits him with a hammer in the head, and then he takes a knife in the head, repeatedly. And then after a while, Randy just chokes him and beats him up.
Now wait just a fucking second! That hurt you? That hurt you? That hurt you?
And that was it.
Wow.
That's all. That's the episode.
So, Lynch would actually take a mirror and make these facial expressions to kind of figure out what his character should look like.
I like that.
I kind of like that. So he would make these facial and then he would like try to draw what. Or I mean, I don't know how they drew. They would do it through the computer. I don't know what they had back in 2002.
Is he just making? He must have been making weird lines on the computer.
Yeah, would he have like almost like a tablet that he could draw on, or would he just have to use the mouse? Or
Probably the mouse. It was very crude.
Right.
But I mean, maybe they use light boxes now. The light box, and you draw on it, and then it goes digitally on your computer.
Right. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, technology has changed immensely. So, episode 4, A Friend Visits. Ben, this one is actually my favorite one. Randy, so his wife is out there with the clothesline.
What the fuck?
That's my new clothesline! My God!
Not for long.
And he gets frustrated, rips it out of the ground.
And again, he says,
What if I had to come out in the yard at night to take a shit? I'd slice my fucking head off.
I was like, what? Do you not have a bathroom in your house? I mean, like...
But Randy's obnoxious, and he takes big shits. I don't know. He throws the clothesline over the fence, and it smashes a car.
Neighbor's car.
A neighbor's car. His friend visits him. It really reminded me of the cowboy of Mulholland Drive.
Oh, yeah, the cowboy there.
The cowboy. Except this cowboy is a little bit weirder.
Cut their heads off right there by the stream. Gut them. Fry them up.
He likes to kill things.
Yes, the cowboy guy, he likes to fart and kill things, and he likes to cut their heads off. So he was talking about killing animals and cutting their heads off, and it's almost like this. Is he poking fun of these hunters maybe who are just? Because I know David Lynch is an animal lover, and remember we talked about
Is
that.
he an animal lover?
I feel like he is.
I don't know. I don't know. If he is, he uses a lot of these animals in his paintings. Like he has like rats that are like stuck into his painting and stuff. So I don't know. I don't know how he feels about animals.
I like to kill deer. Who don't? Same thing. I cut their heads off right there in the woods. Then I rip them open, gut them, and fry me up some genuine old deer meat. You like to kill sheep? Sure do. Same thing. Sheep are fun to have around, and I like to kill them. You cut their heads off? Sure do. Clean their heads up some and hang them up on the wall. All of them. That's right. I tell you what, the wall's full of them. Better believe it. There's nothing like sharing a kill with a friend. I like to kill things.
And it's repeatedly saying the same things over and it almost becomes like hypnotizing.
Yeah.
You're almost kind of like, okay, I'm falling into a trance.
With burping and farting.
I don't even know. It's very Beavis and Butthead like.
You do wonder, what was Lynch thinking? He just wanted something silly, and I think he probably wanted to play with the tools that he had with Flash and.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was too hard to do something serious with animation. Have fun with it, maybe. And back then, people did like to have farting and burping things.
Yep, back in the days.
And these farts, man, there's a lot of farts. It's weird to think that people take David Lynch very seriously,
yes.
but when you watch this, you go, wow, he's like the rest of us. He thinks farts are funny.
Even season 3, I do kind of feel like he was messing with us. I mean, come on, with Cooper getting hit in the head with the ball from his son, and then realizing that had nothing to do with the rest of the I do feel like he plays gay. I feel like sometimes he is a child and he messes with us.
I mean, I do think that those scenes would have been deleted scenes. I really feel like if Showtime was like, no, it's got to be 8, that would have been on the missing pieces. I don't. Right. It felt like a throwaway scene. Yeah, it was a funny scene.
It was a funny scene, but I also feel like that was his kind of way. Oh, you thought we were going to go further with Dougie Cooper?
No, nope. You're just going to get some.
Father-son time.
Yeah, Dumbland part. Yeah, maybe that's another Dumbland sort of thing right there.
Let's play, Daddy.
Yes.
Let's play with ball.
Episode 5 is called "Get the Stick." Oh boy, this was a gross one. So this guy, he's got a stick stuck in his mouth, but the stick is stuck where it's going to the top of his mouth and the bottom of his mouth, and he can't get it out because his teeth are in the way.
Yeah.
And he's just rolling around with a stick in his mouth, and his son is like,
"Hey, Dad, there's a man with a stick caught in his mouth. Hey, Dad, there's a man with a stick caught in his mouth. Get the stick, get the stick."
So Randy breaks his neck by stomping on him, and the little son's like, "You broke his neck, you broke his neck."
Yes, and he just keeps saying that, right?
You broke his neck, you broke his neck. So then he shakes him furiously, and then he pulls a stick up out of his eye socket.
Ah!
And then it pokes his other eye out. Then the guy gets run over by a truck, and then Randy says, "Fucker never said thank you." Only Randy.
Were you really thanking? Were you really helping?
Yeah, you wasn't even helping him. Gouged out his eye. Episode 6 is called "My Teeth Are Bleeding." Randy sits while his son jumps. His wife is screaming. Wrestling's on the TV. Traffic is going by. Guns going off while he kind of like stares out the window half-heartedly watching TV. His son's teeth start to bleed, and his wife is going nuts. Fire trucks are going off. Tanks and all this stuff is going by in the street. And then
this is a street. There's outside the street violent traffic accidents and shootouts occurring.
Yeah,
noisy and bloody wrestling matches playing on a TV, all while a fly is interrupting Randy's experience.
Yeah, and that's really it.
What we see in these episodes is a lot of repeating. So like you have like the fly going, then we have like the TV, and then you have like outside stuff, and it just keeps on repeating, and it's almost like in a loop, and it's just upsetting Randy, and we're just experiencing Randy's frustration.
And if I had to describe it, it's almost like when Sarah Palmer was watching the boxing match on a loop.
Sure,
it becomes a loop and becomes irritating.
Right.
And I'm almost wondering, David Lynch lived in L.A.?
Oh, yeah.
Because you have helicopters constantly, you have noise, you have, like, tanks and all those weird, bizarre things happening.
I don't know how often there's tanks in L.A.
But I wonder if this is sort of like his experience living there.
It might very well be there. Yeah. I mean, like, I definitely visit California. I visit LA. The traffic is horrible. Like to go 5 minutes, you're waiting like a half hour to get somewhere. I mean, it definitely takes a longer time, and it's just a very different culture than where, you and I live. Yeah. And stuff. So I mean, maybe he is venting his frustration in the environment that he's in.
I get that. Yeah. That's what I kind of get from all this. Maybe he had, he didn't like it. Maybe his neighbors were weird. Maybe he just people watched, and he did this.
Maybe
that'd be kind of cool. If we ever get to interview David Lynch, I really want to know the inspiration of all this.
For Dumbland, huh?
Yeah, wouldn't it be kind of cool?
That's not going to be the top of my questions to ask him.
It would be like,
talk to me about Dumbland.
No, it'd be like
I don't care about Twin Peaks. I just want you to spend this whole interview talking about Dumbland.
It wouldn't be like the whole interview. It would be a question.
Okay.
It'd be like,
Why did you make?
Why did you make Dumbland?
I remember. Yeah, there's things that make you laugh a little bit.
Yeah,
but other
yeah,
things,
yeah.
Like,
I giggled a lot.
Yeah, this is so crude.
Episode 7 is called Uncle Bob. I liked Uncle Bob. I like this one a lot. The creepy guy says he's going to watch his Uncle Bob. And the creepy guy is another David Lynch voice character. And it kind of looks like a woman in drag. I was like,
Yes.
It was very bizarre.
It was
the
woman.
mom. It was the mom. That's what it was. It was Randy's wife's mother.
Was it?
Yes, because he wasn't related to Randy.
Oh, yes, his mother-in-law.
Yeah.
And she kind of like basically put him in his place, Randy. It's like basically...
Stop your whining, bitch. I'm not afraid of this dickhead husband of yours. Uncle Bob's not feeling well. You lay one hand on him and I'll cut your nuts out.
Too. But it was interesting to see like there was this power dynamics here where she's basically saying, hey, Randy, I know you... I'm not going to take your shit, basically.
Yeah. And she was like a drill sergeant. So maybe there's this, because Randy's such a loser, that this mother-in-law has to step up and be like, you're an idiot. Like, I'm not going to put up with your shit.
Yeah.
They drop off Uncle Bob, and Uncle Bob is just hanging out, breathing very heavily, and his head is facing the ground. The wife and the mother go out shopping. Uncle Bob punches himself. I think he has like a form of Tourette's of something.
Yeah.
Uncle Bob punches himself. Then he punches himself, stomps the ground. Then he punches himself, stomps the ground. He hacks up. Then he punches himself, stomps the ground, hacks up. Then he punches himself, stomps the ground, hacks up, and then he farts. Rinse and repeat for like, I don't know, felt like minutes later. Too long. And Bob starts punching Randy in the face. He adds that to the mix. So Randy gets pissed off. Like, if he goes, you hit me one more time, I'm going to punch you. He literally goes to punch Bob in the face. And then right there and then...
I saw that.
Takes down Randy. Like in a heartbeat. It was just like right there. And then later on, Randy, it's nighttime. Randy's up hiding in a tree.
They're gone. You're safe. She took Uncle Bob to the hospital. Uncle Bob bit his foot off.
I like that one. I think I watched that one twice.
Because he finally gets what he deserves, maybe?
Yeah, it was a good one. Episode 8. Believe it or not, there was 8 episodes. I wish there was more. Called Ants. This was interesting because this went way off the deep end. There's ants walking by Randy, and Randy screams, "Fucking ants!" And he starts to spray them. But the nozzle is facing the wrong way, so he literally goes to spray them and he sprays himself in the face. The ants start singing and dancing, and they say,
When we look at you, we see an asshole.
Asshole, asshole.
and they just sing this repeatedly.
And dumb turd.
Yeah, and dumb turd, and there's other lyrics. Asshole, yeah.
Gleeful taunts.
So Randy wakes up and he starts trying to kill them. He falls from the ceiling and is in full body cast. So I think he wakes up and they have him on the ceiling. He falls. He ends up in a full body cast. And then he's in the full body cast thinking, oh, I can get peace and relief now. But then the ants show up and they start going inside the body cast. And that's it.
Well, so the ants, the ants do these.
I like the song.
They're funny. Found this on Wikipedia, and they thought that one of the ants at one point is a woman. It kind of looks a little bit like Julie Cruz. I could see this resemblance. It's like
Really?
you're singing.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It has a similar type music.
Yeah, it did. It was a musical number by the Ants.
Yes.
It was.
The ants go marching. I don't know.
It was. That was probably my least favorite. I mean, I liked the Bob one. The name's Bob. Bob comes up. He loves that name.
He does. Just Bob.
Yeah, Bob, Blue Bob.
Yes.
Now Bob in Twin Peaks, Bob in this. I mean, how many times did he probably use that name? He seems to be... He gets caught. Like, maybe things get stuck in his head, and he has to get him out.
Bob. So, I don't know. I mean, that's not my favorite of David Lynch's work. I remember getting a chuckle here and there when I first saw it, and, you know...
I got a chuckle when I watched it. The farting, the burping was funny.
Right. But it's interesting. I think what's great is seeing that Lynch did other things. You know, he's a painter, he's a musician, he's, of course, a director, he's an actor, and he does things like animation, which is pretty cool.
And we all forget, but he does do a voice on American Dad.
Yes.
He does the bartender.
Yeah.
And he's shown up last Christmas on Family Guy, playing himself. I mean, that was so cool.
That was awesome.
See, I would want to talk to David Lynch about, you know, he did Dumbland, but then he got involved doing voices for animation. You know, like, was it something you always wanted to do? You know, like, it kind of ties in. It's kind of interesting.
It is.
It's weird. He's such an enigma.
He does, yeah.
He just does it all.
He does.
Just because. We have anything else to say about Dumbland?
I think that's it. I think we've covered it. It was interesting work. I mean, I love that he was creative and he put this together. Being someone who saw this when it first came out, it was really cool to see like new Lynch stuff. You go to the website, and this website was such a new thing of having streaming media that you could just access through a subscription and stuff. So to me, it was pretty cool just to get access to see what Lynch was working on.
So, Ben, throughout the rest of the month, we will be discussing David Lynch's short films. And around Christmas time, we'll have our best of show. That's coming up very quickly. And then we'll be into 2018. Very exciting.
Awesome.
2018 holds a lot of surprises. So we're very excited.
Can't wait to see what we do next.
Yeah, to the new year. So you can write to us at twinpeaksunwrapped@gmail.com. If you got a comment, question, or anything we talked about today with Dumbland, you can follow us on Twitter, Twin Peaks Unwrapped. Like us on Facebook at Twin Peaks Unwrapped. We're on Stitcher. We're on iTunes. We're on Google Play. Give us that 4-star review. Leave us a nice little comment. That's always great. And stay tuned. Around Black Friday, our TeePublic page, there's going to be a nice sale going on. I'm going to try to dig up our old stuff. And you can get hoodies. You can buy something for a fan of the show. It's a great Christmas present. Mugs, we have shirts, we have hoodies, we have everything on there, and it's a great sale going to be happening on Black Friday, so stay tuned on that.
You know, this week, season 3 of Twin Peaks is out, and I think we're going to wait till after the New Year's to discuss the DVD Blu-ray season 3.
Yeah, we'll wait on that.
Some people might get this as a Christmas present. We'll let people check it out, and then next year we'll talk a little about it. Maybe we can get somebody to talk about the making of the DVD Blu-ray.
Yeah, very exciting. So a lot of great stuff in the new year. I'm excited to watch the DVD. I like all the extra stuff.
Oh yeah, again, I know. I think it's like 3 hours of
3 hours.
I thought I heard that. Yeah.
It's gonna be David Lynch. It's gonna be an hour with David Lynch with that woman from the bar, just doing different takes.
You mean she has to put her shoes on? Is this that girl?
Yeah, she can put her shoes back on.
She got to put her lipstick on. She's got to like
the extended version of that.
Yes.
Oh man,
it's the making of that.
Yes, making of.
Behind the scenes.
All right, Ben. We'll be back next week.
We look at you, we see an asshole.
Asshole, asshole.
When we look at you, we see an asshole.
Asshole.
When we look at you, we see a shithead.
Shithead.
When we look at you, we see a shithead.
Shithead. Shithead.
When we look at you, we see a dumb turd.
Dumb turd.
When we look at you, we see a dumb turd.
Dumb turd.
We see a soul.
Shit, head, dumb, turd, ass, hole. Shit, head, dumb, turd, ass, hole. Shit.
So, Ben, throughout the rest of the month, we're going to be going into his shorts. So every week...
I'm not going into shorts.
I don't want to paint myself into a corner here. All right, hold on. So for the rest of the month, we'll be going through David Lynch's shorts. No, through the rest of the month, we'll be going through... There's no other way of saying it.
It's like, for the rest of the month, we will be doing David Lynch shorts. I don't know. I don't think that sounds bad. Shorts done by David Lynch.
Going through his
David Lynch short films.
There you go. We'll be going through David Lynch's short films.
All right. I won't laugh anymore.
All right. So the rest of the month...